Okay, Father Miller here. Welcome back to the Nerd Father. It looks like I'm the only one so far, but as the last time we did this, it took a little bit of time, but we had a few people on. So the link is in the chat to StreamYard. If you want to join, just make sure you got your headphones on. And I shouldn't have done that because I just heard a little beep, beep, beep in my thing. Anyway, Friday afternoon stretch. I figured this would be the Black Widow edition since I have had a chance to see Black Widow. And I gotta say, it was a big fat. I didn't hate it, but it's definitely not my favorite movie. I came up with a list. There's like 24 MCU movies so far, and I think I ranked it 18 above Thor 2, The Dark World, Captain Marvel, which is at the bottom. Let's see, Age of Ultron, which I absolutely did not like. Maybe Ant-Man and the Wasp. Didn't care for that one either. So, but hope all is well with everybody. It looks like we got a few people in the chat already. So it should be an interesting night. This is going to be my last stream for Friday afternoon for maybe 2 weeks because on Monday I am leaving to go to Philadelphia. I'm going to be going on vacation. So I went to seminary in Philadelphia, and I'm going to stay at a classmate's parish. So I'll be doing this Friday morning stream with the rabbi because we're not doing anything yet that morning. But on Friday evening, my classmate is planning on having a parish, kind of like a big priest party. It's something we haven't been able to do in 2-3 years because of the thing that shall not be named. So I'm not sure what time that starts, but I'm assuming it's going to be during probably 5 or 6 Eastern. So we'll see if this happens next week or not. So let's see who we got. We got Lord Thorth. Good to see you. Good to see you again. One of these days I'll learn to pronounce it. Nordapoopas is here. And like I said, it should be an interesting night. I believe Mahler is on. No, I don't remember who's going to be on Friday Night Tights tonight. But anyway, but yeah, Black Widow was interesting. I've seen a few different reviews, and some of the criticisms I had of the movie, I'm sure I'll talk about it again when other people get here. But the main thing that stuck out at the beginning, didn't realize the dad in the beginning, the dad who comes home to tell his wife that they've been busted, that they have to flee their home, that is the same dad who would be the Red Guardian later on. Something happened to that character, and it probably would be the Russian prison, but he became a total Russian or buffoon, a goofball. And I don't know who the actor is. I've heard the name of who the actor is, but I don't know anything he's been in before. So as Gary said, they de-age ties him along with Rachel Weisz, who I have heard of, but they could de-age the Red Guardian as much as they want. I wouldn't have recognized him. So, but the idea of them fleeing from Ohio to Cuba, and I think it was 1995, the idea that they don't have a way to stop a plane, which, let me be honest, it was not a jet. So I'm going to guess it's going to take a few hours for them to get to Cuba from where they're at. And really, honestly, it probably take them a lot longer. And we got PJ.
Hello.
So did you watch Black Widow?
No. The only one I've watched this week was Tomorrow's War.
I was just saying that, so my big criticism of Black Widow is in the beginning. They are in Ohio, 1995, and the dad gets busted, that they're going to be arrested, so they flee home. They flee from Ohio, which I don't know if you know American geography or not.
Just a wee bit.
So it's kind of in the Midwest, the eastern part of the Midwest. They're going to flee all the way from Ohio to Cuba. And the American government doesn't do anything to stop them once they're there.
I hate the criticism. They're in a small plane and they've got nothing fast enough to catch them. So all those jets and things
and
like
that. They take off at probably what's dinner time in Ohio, and they land in the morning because it's sunlight when they get to Cuba.
As you do. I suppose they've actually been travelling by Game of Thrones Airlines.
You know, I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Neither have I. I've just heard a lot of the criticisms of the fact that they would turn there would be a battle. In the middle of a battle, somebody has to travel across the whole continent to send a message so somebody will come and help them. And by the time the battle's still going near the end of the battle, they turn up. Not bad traveling.
So, Kat and Philly, I'll be in your hometown next week. I was just mentioning, so I'm leaving for Philadelphia on Monday, and I'm gone for 2 weeks. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this the next 2 weeks.
Aye. Well, next week I've got friends visiting, so I'll not be streaming at all Friday or Saturday.
We're having a big priest party.
Yeah, I've got my friend coming down, and I've not seen her all lockdown, so they're coming visiting. So my next Saturday stream's been cancelled as well because I'm not doing anything. I'm spending time with friends.
Good.
So
good. Yeah,
I've not seen her or her daughter for 15, 16 months. I've seen them on FaceTime, but I've not seen them in person. So they're coming down, and nothing's going to interrupt us.
That's about how long it's been since I last saw my parents. But I kind of was ready to come back after a few days.
Yeah. Well, I was lucky. I saw my dad right up until he passed last year. I didn't stop visiting because he had dementia, and I was one of his anchor points. So I still visited regularly.
So what's new over there?
Not a lot. Lovely weather for a change in Scotland. Normally we don't, but it's been lovely weather, so we've been sitting, relaxing, enjoying the weather. I'm just getting ready to do shopping again tomorrow. Charity shop.
Okay.
A load more new videos to add to my collection, or old videos, should I say? But have you heard about the Tomorrow's War?
Yeah, I saw it already.
You have. What did you think of it?
I mean, if you throw logic out the window, it was good.
Well, the logic was a big tripping point.
I mean, I understand that they pick people that are going to die in the future to go off to die now.
Yeah, well, the way I understood it was they didn't want people who were already dead by the time they were getting there, so they didn't meet them theirself and cause a paradox.
But
which,
Max,
hey,
hi.
Go ahead.
So we're just talking about Tomorrow War. So there.
Well, I mean, it was figuring what's been out lately. I enjoyed it. I mean, it has its problems.
Even I can't complain. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
There was a lot I had to actually. I think I mentioned it. Is when you have to suspend your disbelief, that is getting into the movie. But as soon as you have to suspend your belief as well, that's when a movie starts tripping over itself.
Well, you mean like how they went to the kid as a volcano expert?
Yes. Yeah, and also the fact that as soon as they destroyed... Oh, did I put spoilers in?
Don't worry.
It's been out over a week.
I didn't watch it, but I'll.
Yeah. Well, as soon as the ending happened, the start wouldn't have.
Yeah,
because it creates a time paradox loop, which, considering they've already said they're making a second movie.
What?
I've heard that they're making a movie number 2 has been greenlit. And I'm sitting there thinking, how? Exactly. Are they going to actually go out, build a spaceship and go and find the aliens in the first place? It makes zero sense as soon as somebody told me they were making a second movie and it's already been greenlit.
Okay.
Max, the movie is... If you switch off your brain, it's an entertaining movie. It makes zero sense if you think about it. So if you're just looking for entertainment, you don't need to think about it. It's an okay movie. But if you like a movie, it makes sense. Nope, at all. There's so many things that don't make sense in it. Like, for instance, I was saying to Father that there's one part they're checking the people who are going into the future to see if they've died before it happens, and that's they say it's because they don't want people meeting themselves in the future.
Well, I thought it'd be more like if they had grandkids that are fighting the war in the future. What happens if they die before they're able to have those grandkids?
Yeah, but the fact is, well, they use the reason that when they were talking, the people who were making the choice didn't say it, but it was they were all talking that it seems to be all people who were dead in the future, so they didn't meet because it was all older people fighting. The way I understood it was, well, if you're already checking to see when someone died, then you know they've gone into the future and come back because they died in the future. It makes zero sense. So if you're sending people there and half of them are not going to survive, then the death certificate of when they died are going to tell you who died because they're looking at the past death certificates. So, you know, the Chris Pratt's character, according to the list, dies 7 years in the future from before he gets sent. However, then that means that he gets sent so he knows he's coming back. So it's convoluted and it makes zero sense because half those people they were sending, they must know they're going to die because their date of death would have been the day they were speaking to them.
Yeah, that's
So it
sloppy
makes zero-
construction.
It is. It's very sloppy in that respect, but that's what they had hinted that it was because they didn't want them meeting themselves in the future. But I don't know. It's just, it was crazy. There was time loops and it just didn't make sense.
That's better than Black Widow.
I can believe that. Considering I've actually not seen the last 4 Marvel movies. I've not watched the last 3 seasons of the series either because I just stick to my classic stuff because I know the quality I'm getting. If I know it's silly, I know it's stupid, I know it's doesn't make sense, at least I'm aware before I go in. These ones I don't want to spend money to go. Now, the classic Flash, there you go. I love that one.
Oh, looks good.
I remember seeing it when it came out over here on TV when it first came out, and I loved it.
I haven't seen it in 30 years, and I'm enjoying it just as if it's the first time.
Yeah. I watched it about 2 years ago again, and I've got it somewhere in here. Somewhere. Don't know where. But I do enjoy it. I think it is far superior than the modern rubbish.
Well, the first two seasons of New Flash were really good.
I
thought they were.
It set it up to be a good successor. The fact that they brought him back as the father,
Yeah,
I thought was quite a nice nod. But then it just went zoom.
well, no, I just saw the picture I think the drinker had of Kid Flash being chased by men in white, which it's like, okay, I don't know what that is.
Well, I stopped watching it when they started doing the Flashpoint. That's when I sort of dropped out of it. Having the...
I didn't know they did Flashpoint.
Yeah. They did the Flashpoint, and that basically... It started going downhill just before then, but once they started the Flashpoint stuff, yeah. It goes back to save his mum and dad, and that causes the Flashpoint.
Well, that's what it was in the comics.
Yes, exactly. So they had used that, but it got convoluted at that point because it just is. I think it's a case of people don't understand the basic We're not all scientists here. We don't know time travel, but you know the basic premise of time travel, the grandfather paradox, and all that.
Oh yeah,
It's almost like they go, I don't understand it, but all right, whatever. It's the same as like Tomorrow's War. It's almost like somebody who wrote it didn't understand what they were writing about time travel. and it just made zero sense. I think Flashpoint started going down that route. It just made less and less sense as it went on, so I just stopped watching it.
So I'm going to put the link again in the chat for anybody that wants to join. The cat is doing pretty good. She's not on the nip today. I just started reading these the other
Tales
night.
from the Crypt.
Oh,
I love this cover.
I remember seeing the Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah,
I didn't see a lot of them. I just saw occasionally because they weren't a big thing over here.
on HBO.
Well, this was the reprint. This is when it was like $1.95.
Oh,
Wow.
there was one I was showing on Saturday. See if I can find it.
Back when HBO was cutting edge.
I've got this for my reading for tomorrow.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Wait, Doctor, what the heck?
Yes.
Dr. WTF.
WTF. Believe it or not, it's a female doctor,
I'm still listening.
and it is actually a really entertaining one. The artwork in it is amazing. So it is.
Is it new?
It's I got it
Let's
about a
bring
year
that
and a
up.
half ago.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me bring that up.
Ooh.
Okay.
I like that.
That's basically that. It is an independent. Basically, I got it at Comic-Con about a year and a half ago.
But it says 2012.
2012. That's basically when I got it. Thingy there, and it was an independent.
Oops.
Time and relative dimension in suit. So basically, her outfit is her TARDIS. It is. That's why it's called Doctor. What the? It is entertaining, and considering it is a female Doctor, it is entertaining, and that's all I can say. I'm going to read because I read it the first time I got it, but I literally just it was a quick read, and I enjoyed it. So as you can see, it's not really been creased, so it was a quick read. I didn't want to bend the page back and really get into it. So that's for my plans for tomorrow. I'm going to sit and read that in the morning because we're going out in the afternoon, but that's my reading for tomorrow. So see if it's as entertaining second time round. Now we know how they went with the show.
Yeah.
But I'll let you know.
Excuse me.
I'll let you know. I'll be talking about it probably on my stream tomorrow night. So
Nice.
It's because we were talking about Doctor Who books and stuff like that because I had a book. What was the book? It was an audio book. It was Doctor Y or something like that. And it started okay, and then it just went down a rabbit hole. They started going on about the female doctor, and then suddenly it was all male doctors were bad. And I just switched it off. I returned it, told them didn't want it, and they gave me a credit back. It was bad. Started off quite well as well, because it was a case of there was multiple doctors. There was Doctor Who, Doctor When, Doctor Y, Doctor How, and it was down that route. It was basically taking that. So it was a bit of a cookie premise. There was the 7 doctors, and they also explained how the Doctor Who and the TV show. But I'd heard that theory. It was about how it was just the doctor had one of the traveling companions had come back and tried to write it down, and people didn't believe it, so they wrote it as a TV show, and it was a TV movie, and that's how you got the TV movie and the TV show, because it's a companion's recollection, and they've written it to be a bit more campy than how dangerous it was, just so the
Sounds
general
like the Red Dwarf one.
Yeah. So in effect, I've heard the theory before, but they basically expanded on it about how the movie was and how the TV show was brought around because somebody had travelled with the Doctor and wanted to write about it. But it went right down the rabbit hole. As soon as it started talking about a female Doctor, and they was telling about all the male Doctors, Doctor Y, Doctor When, all being evil. And I thought, here we go. It just started off quite well, and then just nope. So as soon as it got to that point, just over halfway through, I just basically switched it off and returned it. Thankfully, Audible do give you a credit if you return it quite within a amount of time.
No.
So I got the Forever War, Old Man's War. Sorry, Old Man's War. There's a good series of books I would love to see made into a movie. The premise is the people who fight the future wars aren't the young, not the 18-year-olds. They're the old, the 65-plus-year-olds. You sign up when you're in your 40s. They take a medical just so they get a bit of DNA. And then if you survive and to retire, you join up and they clone your body made from your own DNA. So it's young, it's fit, it's healthy, and you get your consciousness gets transferred into your own body, but a lot healthier. You're at peak health, and it's been genetically modified to help fight wars. And it's the old people who go and fight the wars, not the young.
What is it called again?
Old Man's War. There actually is about 13 books in the series, but the first couple I think are the best, and it is just set the premise. There is bits in it about how when all the older folk, when they suddenly get a new young body, decide to go a bit crazy, as you would do if you're basically now got a young body. All these people actually want to actually try out. So there is wee bits like that, but it is a really good. So it's the old people actually get new bodies, and it's the old who fight the future wars and stuff like that. So I quite enjoyed it.
Gotta welcome Justin. Justin is from my hometown. Good
Hello.
friend. Good to see you. I thought you'd be at
Two
work.
different audios. I'm hearing like what you're doing now, and I'm hearing 30 seconds ago.
Do you
I know
have a
what's wrong.
YouTube window open on top?
Because I was going to ask if I'm echoing, but I don't think I'm echoing now because I got that sorted. But yeah, if you've got a window opened with when you were watching The Father, you would actually still get an echo.
Say again.
If
Do
you've
you
got
have a
window,
YouTube window open with this on?
Yeah, let me close that.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Hey! Hi guys. How do I
Hey.
sound? I got a really nice
You sound
microphone.
better. You sound better.
I got a pretty blue microphone that my wife said, "How much did you pay for that?" I said, "I sell comic books. I can buy whatever microphone I want."
well, I'm saving up for a new microphone because Matt on my stream got a new microphone, a Yeti X, and he was playing about with it because you've got you can go dead deep or dead high pitched, and he was playing about with a high pitched one, and every time he was talking, I was we were noting ourselves, and I thought I want one of those.
Well, I haven't gotten so far as to play around with the effects or how to make myself sound any better than I already do. But this one is the Blue Yeti, I guess.
Yeah.
This is the one that was like high. I think Chris, you recommended this to me. Yep, there it is. I didn't get the foamy cover, but in my little office, there's not much else that's gonna. I don't know if you guys can hear my ceiling fan going, but if you can't, then it's doing its job.
Yeah, it's pretty
Sweet.
good. I don't hear anything.
I can't hear it.
Well, I just got home from a week doing comic books at the comic book store. So if anybody wants to talk comics, I'm right
No,
here.
Well,
I
how
was
did
just
your
talking
sale go?
about that one.
Doctor Who, WTF. But I haven't got that one. I do.
No, it's
I did
not
just come
Doctor
across.
Who. It's not Doctor Who.
Oh, it's Doctor
WTF.
What the F.
Yes, and it was one I got at a comic convention a couple of years ago, and I've read it once, but it was a quick read, and I'm going to reread it. And it is a female Doctor.
Oh well, why not?
It is time and relative dimension in Suit. So our Suit is our TARDIS.
Fantastic.
So I'm going to reread that tomorrow, and I'll talk about it in my stream tomorrow night.
Well, I just heard the news today that apparently another win for men, as a man won the Miss Nevada contest and will now be
saw that.
competing in Miss America as a woman.
Yep.
And I thought, well, we are better than you at everything, so
What?
that's nice.
Oh,
We
heck,
got
they
that.
had it when Caitlyn Jenner was Times
Woman of the year.
Year. It's like even men can win the Woman of the Year.
Well, you had a lot of women actually returning their award because of that.
That's a man.
Yep. Real hot man.
Wow.
That's what we're down to now. And honestly, I thought this was all a big a push for one type of political, in your face. Let's make everything different. And I was like, no. This is I figured it out. This is now the man's push to take over everything the women have and really exert our dominance over the entire world. I'm just kidding. This is
Well-
ridiculous. And we
Oh,
should
wait till
pay
the
attention to it.
Olympics.
You know what? The fact that that's an interesting story. We just cracked some Olympic cards in the store. Just came in, and we pulled the hammer thrower, the one that won the gold, the cool one.
Oh,
And
the good one.
So my buddy listed her. He got two. He listed one of them on eBay, and then he got a message from a customer who says, "Listen, I'm going to stop bidding on this card, but I want you to know why." My friend, who I was buying it for, is the hammer thrower, and she's currently bidding on her own card. So yeah, he's got her card on eBay, and she's trying to buy it. I'm like, why aren't you talking to her? Send her a text.
Yes.
Ask her to sign
Taylor,
your other
I
card.
will take it off eBay and sell it directly to you if you wish.
Oh yeah, I would just
Well, I
give it
got a
to her.
question for you then. So I remember in 1992 they had the Olympic cards, and I collected a bunch of them.
hmm
So I got like a Lance Armstrong and some of the Dream Team Olympic cards.
Well, I mean, it's with cards. It's always you have to ask yourself, how mass produced was it? Was it
Yeah.
something?
Well, that
came
was
in a
the thing,
full
too.
set? You know, did you buy a set and everybody got the same set? And from what I've seen, Jim, because I'm the comic guy, Jim's been in the business for over 50 years. He handles all the sports stuff, and what I've learned from him is that the cards, it really matters on where they came from, how many were made, and normally when it comes to Olympic cards, even if like maybe the first year the Dream Team was there, which I think was what was that?
92.
92.
Yeah, amazing. The first year they were there, that might have been something to have. Now it's you know, if you want a valuable card of any player that you like, you want their rookie card from the first, you know, reputable set that came out their rookie year. That's what people are looking for.
See, I don't know anything about sports or cards, but
Yeah.
I understand the aspect of it because of Magic the Gathering.
Well,
You know,
I mean,
the
I remember.
rarer the card, the more expensive it can be.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember. I'm sorry, Justin.
Go ahead. I have a
the,
tendency to rep, so go ahead.
Okay. I used to, when I was a kid, I used to collect sports cards, and that was like the time of the Dream Team. And you know, I'm from Chicago, and that was the time when you had the Bulls, and yeah, the sports cards were hot, and you had all the makers of them just then flooding the market with this special set and that special set.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, it's like they do the same thing in comics, except with the sports cards, it just, you know, it went up, and then it's like, okay, everyone's like, yeah, we're done.
Yeah, in the 90s, we saw that huge, it was almost like a momentous growth. And, you know, you saw videos where people were buying, I'm going to buy all this cards and all these comics, and I'm going to pay for my kids' college. And I'm like, yeah, but everybody else is too.
Yeah.
And when people bring cards in the store, my boss, Jim, who's, he's the gray bearded wizard. And, you know, they come in and says, we only look at cards 1960s and older, unless you're carrying Jordan rookies or high dollar Jordan insert cards.
Or a Bill Ripken Fleer Air card or something like that.
Yeah. There's always like we found one. What was it last year? The year before, we discovered there was a card that had the Menendez brothers in the background.
In the Knicks game.
Yeah, in the next, that was it. So that one, nobody cared about the player; they cared about the Menendez brothers sitting back in the crowd. But it's funny. The collector's market this last year has just exploded. I mean, people with nothing to do and free money have been buying things left and right. We had our grader companies that we grade our sports cards through, like PSA and Beckett. At one point this year, they shut down. They said, we're not taking anything else. Some people were having their orders returned. So people are just, everybody wants to be a collector. Everybody wants to cash in.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. I mean, when you find something good, like I had a guy grade a LeBron rookie card, and it cost him $1,000 to have that card graded. And it's a $30,000 card. So hit or miss. I mean, you know, America Dream Team would be great, and I'd love to open a desk drawer full of a bunch of cards. But most times, it's if you've got it and you don't know if it's worth anything, it probably isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember in the 90s, it was just Topps and making baseball cards, and then it was Fleer, Score, Dunross, Upper Deck, and now what is it? Is it just Topps again?
Topps
No, there's a few.
But Topps is like, if you want Topps, you want Bowman. Those are the big ones. Panini, the Panini company, a lot of those companies bought the smaller companies. So like, I think one of them I think Panini owns Score, and they have exclusive rights to basketball and football.
Panini did a lot of stuff in the 90s, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they were around. Again, sports cards isn't my specialty,
Yeah.
but I'm learning a little bit as I go.
They
I remember
all,
my nephews and all that
Yeah.
collecting, and I thought it was Pirelli, but it's more likely Panini because I wasn't interested. I just saw it and I just assumed a name. Terrible. Because I'm not interested, I just assumed the name of the company. But I remember them collecting them all, trying to get all the covers and all the cards, and same idea. Certain cards that people were trying to collect.
Oh yeah,
There was about 10 in the whole batch, and nobody could complete their collection because anytime they tried to get it, it was expensive, even
Yeah.
for those, and they were mass produced.
Well, now they have when they put out sets, they'll do a main set, and then later on they'll do what they call a high number set, which you can then get cards that were a little harder to get, and those cards are usually more expensive by the pack and the box. But both ways, cards and comics are doing the same thing right now. And I have to interject. I got to change the subject because Chris was talking about Black Widow. Everybody's tearing up Black Widow. And I want to tell you something.
Justin,
I can argue almost everything
Justin,
I can. Yeah,
you're the only one on here who can call me Chris.
Father. Sorry.
Because these guys don't know me you've known me most of my life.
I know. I was
my
with
whole
Father
thing
Miller,
has been, if you know me my whole life, that's fine.
Father Miller and I were in art class together in high school, and I think he argues that he never did this, but I remember him painting his name on the back of a coat, but it looked like the Miller beer logo, and you got in trouble for that. I remember that.
The only time I got in trouble in high school or school that I remember is when we kidnapped Swain and took him to the Hardee's.
Well, yeah, that'll get you in trouble.
kidnapped.
might
I
have been
distinctly
my
remember you
brother that
painting
picked it
a
up.
leather coat with your name on the back, but it was the Miller logo from the beer company.
I don't even know how to draw the Miller logo.
Maybe it was another Miller. I don't know. I thought, swear to God,
There were a few.
Where was you?
There were a few Millers in our school.
Well, I hit my head a lot, so it could have been Miller.
See, I knew the father's name was Chris. That's only because I've watched Friday Night Terror.
Yeah, thanks for doxing me.
He basically, Nerdrotic keeps calling you by your full name.
Well, but the thing is, when I first started following Gary, I had when we're on YouTube, I have my full.
They
So
call
this
you
is
that
my-
out of guilt. That's what it is. They're all
No.
ashamed of themselves when you're on, and they have to feel
No.
bad, so they call you by your
No.
formal title. There's
No.
sometimes I watch that show. I
No.
have to go. I watch Odin. I'm like, oh God, Odin's got to be dying right now. He just turns his camera off.
Well, but no, what was it? I think it's about this time next month I'll be getting back from Vegas. So I'm really looking
Jealous.
forward to it.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been about 5 minutes since my last confession.
I actually sent Drunk 3PO a text or a message telling him I actually want to do cigars and a drink with him.
Now you got to live stream that. You can't just
Well,
have that
that
private
part we might not
conversation.
be able to. In all seriousness, I kidded with him about doing that, but also in all seriousness, a few priests I know out east got in trouble for doing something like that.
You could
Well,
take
And
these
they were
together,
a little tipsy when they were live streaming.
Yeah.
the leather
yeah.
case. There you go. You can have a couple of these ones.
We're not here for a long
Ooh.
time, Father. We're
Are
here
they
for a good
Cuban?
time.
They are King Edwards.
Oh, okay. But
They're
let's
nice,
just
they're
say
They're
the bishop was not amused.
Yeah.
And I think in the big diocese, when the bishop calls you, that's not good.
Who's on the phone? The bishop. Oh no!
Oh, crap.
What I do?
So, but no, from talking to Gary, it sounds like one of the get-togethers will be on a Thursday. Looking at the temperatures, it's going to be like 100 something. So I don't think I'll be wearing my blacks.
Yep.
No. Definitely look for whatever the seasonal color is. Is probably a better choice than the full.
Yeah. So
I think I'll like maybe wear white robes and a keffiyeh and but a neck sign that says "Don't worry, I'm not Arab. It's just hot out."
oh, that just
Egyptian
makes
cotton
me
is
think of
really
last
comfy.
week.
You'd wear a big Homer Simpson fufu.
So Max, are you going to Vegas?
Yeah, I will be there. I will be there Wednesday, Thursday, and I'm gotta be back on Friday because
Okay.
I am the assistant to the rabbi, and I don't like being away on the Sabbath.
You can honestly say I'm not going to make it.
a lot of water to swim, right?
Yes, sir.
But I don't know. I mean, it's like
I'll just go through Mexico.
now. Well, not legally anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, now that LA is doing what they're doing, it's like, it's like you can go in and commit shoplifting and maybe you'll be armed, but make sure you wear a mask. That way you'll get released with no bail.
I have something to add to that, Max. I
ahead.
was working in the store 2 days ago, and this lovely couple and their kids came in, and never seen them before. And when there's new people because you do not recognize them. And I said, "So hey, what's your story?" He said, "Oh, we're here from California." And I go, "Wow, what brings you to the Midwest?" And the lady literally looks at me. She goes, "We're getting the H-E double hockey sticks out of California."
I saw that.
And I'm looking at her kids, and I'm like, these kids are 17, 18. They look trendy. They look cool. And the husband was a comic fan. He was telling me stuff I didn't know. And I said, yeah, Chris, you saw my post that they're looking at Solon. They're looking at our hometown to where they want to move to outside of Skyler City.
Being docs.
I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it. And that's like, she's like, it was 109 degrees yesterday. We don't want to be there anymore. The government's nuts. I'm like, yeah. Just whatever you do.
They are. I mean, they came out with a budget. The state came out with a budget last week. It's $100 billion more than last year's. They're starting to propose minimum alternative income for like certain people. And they're saying that it's going to be just temporary, but it's nuts. You have a state, there's a local state assemblywoman who she's the one who authored the legislation to mandate healthcare because for Uber and Lyft drivers, because if they work more than 40 hours, they should be considered employees. And now she's trying to get litigate. It's legislation that turns into litigation. It's like legislation that would force like DoorDash and Uber Eats to disclose all their fees because she's saying, it was like, well, if
that's set up for taxing. That's set up for taxing more.
Yeah, it's just the typical California Democratic liberal thing. And I'm a liberal Democrat. But living in this state for 10 years has made me look down my nose at other liberal Democrats. It's just they want the money. Yeah. That's it. I mean,
I had a great opportunity to teach my kids about the socialism ideals. We went to North Carolina this year for my daughter's basketball tournament. Yeah. And up there, we could not get into any restaurant and get sat sooner than an hour. And I'm talking about a pizza place, not a fancy dancy. And then they said it'd be a half hour later that we'd be able to serve you and order your food. And I said, what happened? And the guy said, well, 6 of our kitchen staff quit last night because they got their government checks on a Friday. And I had a friend who runs a restaurant in North Carolina, oddly enough. He's one of my Xbox friends. And he says, man, I'm doing $30,000 on a Monday night, and I can't get people to come to work. And I said, well, and I told my kids at the pizza places, this is socialism. Giving a bunch of people a bunch of money, you think it's going to do well, and we're all going to work together in our communities. No, you're going to sit home and do nothing because people are paying you to do so.
No, because people in their hearts are capital. People have the capitalism in their hearts, in their spirit, and if you make them a better deal than going into work, they're going to take the better deal.
But see, I was raised. A lot of us were. It's all about how you were raised too. Because I was raised not to accept things. I don't take charity. I don't take favors. My dad taught me to work super hard for very little, so that you'll appreciate what you have. I still do fireworks shows at 45. I go out on 4th of July at 9 a.m., work till 2 in the morning, sweating and puking my guts out for very little pay because I know that the people who go to the shows will appreciate what I am doing. And it's that mentality that we have lost over 20, 25 years of participation trophies and people our age that grew up thinking, I didn't have anything, I'm going to give my kids everything. But if you don't make them work for it, if you don't make them earn it, they won't appreciate it and they won't understand why they can't have it.
I used to work for my father. And when I moved out of the house and I was ill and I couldn't get out of my bed, he would turn up at the door and come in and drag me out to work.
There you go.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, you basically know you're no. And that was it. I was in work. Doesn't matter how ill I was working because you work. End of story.
See, I honestly think it was revenge. Our parents, like my dad used to shovel fish guts out of train cars. He'd always tell me that story. And I think honestly, he was just getting back at me. Like, you know what? I had to do all this crap growing up. My son's going to do it too. So I want to make him work on pull weeds. I'd mow around hornets' nests in the backyard. Just everything. One time I didn't finish the yard to his liking. I had to go out at night and mow the yard in the dark. I'm not making that up. Get out there and finish that yard. You ain't going to bed. It was 9:30 at night. I'm out there with the mower. The neighbors probably thought I was nuts. But yeah, I mean, you have to mix. The responsibility is the key word of the last decade. It's people have got to be more responsible.
Yeah.
And the handing out money and doing nothing for it and expecting to be able to tax the world for more and give it away to people who aren't earning it. It's just, come on, guys. You look at Iowa. You could sit in the Quad Cities, which is right on the Mississippi River, pull a lawn chair out, look at Illinois, and you can see a night and day difference between how governments run their cities.
Oh God, yeah. No,
You can't drive down a street in Illinois on that side of the river without your hubcaps falling off.
No,
But in Iowa, every day
Yeah.
they're fixing the roads. Or
Yeah, no, I know. I lived in Illinois for 30 years.
There you go.
And it's like I miss it, but the Chicagoland that I live in just like doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-mm. And that's you know what, and that's funny because we always talk about liberal Democrat versus conservative and stuff, and I've always called myself a conservative because I was raised that way. But I think we have grown beyond labels when it comes to what's important and what we have to be as a people. So I have liberal ideals. I have gay friends. I have ideas about things, but I also, when it comes to money and it comes to responsibility, boy, am I right wing. Just you got to be responsible with your money. You can't keep writing checks that you don't have money for. You've got to take care of the people before you take care of the foreign countries.
That's a young person's attitude, because they say as the older you get, the more conservative you get with your money. Because
you start to lose it.
Because you've worked all those years to get it, and you know fine well as you come to retirement, the government's not going to give you any.
Yeah, no kidding. It's all gone now.
I gotta say, I had to just another red shirt. I didn't know they had the shirt in red.
Yes.
Ooh, I like that.
Got it in red. Welcome to the resistance in red.
In red.
Yes. Yeah. So
How goes it?
oh, it goes well. It goes well.
We're a month away
busy
from Vegas.
already, as usual for a Friday.
Oh, because you're one of the wrenches, aren't you?
Yes. I was wrenching for Culture Casino, and I have my brief hiatus here before, and I'm keeping
Well, happy to be here.
I'm keeping an eye on YouTube to see when the stream shows up for Friday Night Tights, because I know right after that I'm going to get a ping from Eric K on Discord.
Well, I told Eric he has to reserve a drink for me because I sent a super chat on Gary's stream a few weeks ago, never got read, and it's like I hate to say it, and again, I love Gary, and I'm so excited that his channel has grown. The downside to it is that unless you have $5,200, your chat doesn't have a good chance of being read. And again, I'm not criticizing. I am not criticizing. I'm very excited for him.
I mean, look at how long.
Now.
Yeah, look at how long. Look at how long his square ups last. I mean, if he tried to do a Doomcock at the end of the stream and read all the super chats, it would take him an extra 4 hours.
There you go, man. No, Father Miller, you need no George Moore, no Jason Spoon to come on him, and no, you ain't gonna read on there for $5 man. No.
Do you know the first time I heard about Neurotic? I had started my channel just over a year ago, and one of my friends says, "Your room reminds me of Neurotic," and I'm going, "Who's that?" So he basically sent me the link to his channel, and I've been watching it ever since. And it was only because he just mentioned because my room behind me, which is nothing like Gary's, because mine's is like a box compared to Gary's mansion.
Oh, I look a little bit like Gary's. I need to get a camera up one of these days.
Yeah, I'll say, Gary moved to a rental house where he set up that studio. He's going to move again in the next month or two.
Probably panels he can just take down. They're all still strapped to it. He slides them into a crate,
Oh no! He
has
takes
to
them
take all the
all
pins
down.
off.
Oh my
backs the
goodness,
wall.
no way.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
He was
No,
talking
that's-
about it. He basically takes all the pins out and then he redoes it, and then all the pins
Yep.
go back in, and
Yep.
all the figures go. Then
That's
he
a
organizes
collector
them
right
out
there.
in subcategories and everything.
That's nuts.
And I'm sitting there thinking, my room's a box compared to that. And somebody was comparing mine to them, and I'm saying, nah. And I looked at it and I'm going, definitely no. It's a compliment. Thank you very much. But no.
That's
And I just
dedication.
wanted
I like
all
it.
of those figures.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
got
that's
his
funny.
broadcast studio set up like he's going to sell those figures out of it, like he's got
Yeah.
a shop ready to go.
Hopefully,
I
that's
think
like it's
Like
like
it's
it's
$5.
HSN.
When I
We
first
got
thought- I thought
three.
it was
We
in a
got three
shop.
of these figures left. Let's sell them right now. Come on. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
I thought he was in a shop the very first time I saw him because of his background.
Yeah.
And then I realised that's his room.
You know,
It's
the
like a
crazy
public
thing is,
closet.
the crazy thing is, he did a green screen when he first moved in, and I'm like, why didn't you leave
Yeah.
it as a green
Yeah.
screen until you moved to a permanent house? No, he actually set the room up.
Nope, he's nerd. 'Cause
Good
he's
God.
nerdrotic.
He's
There we go.
yeah.
Well, if I had people dropping $500 super chats in my videos, I'd set my room up too.
Well, yeah.
If I had
well,
this, I was getting that in mind. I would actually throw my wife out of that room and expand that way.
There you go. I need it for the space, honey. I need my stuff. I just swapped out 24 drawer comic boxes this week for long
saw
boxes because I'm running out of room, and I'm sitting here at 2:00 in the morning 2 nights ago, like, what am I doing? Trying to keep everything
Look at
manageable
this.
I know.
and presented. Are you gonna? Oh yeah, that's his room. Yeah.
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mine-
I said I feel like Charlie finding the golden ticket.
Yeah. If my room even looked, even one of his walls, if my room looked that good as one of his walls, even his shelf,
Wow.
I would just love to have that shelf. Then
The
never mind
problem
the
with
rest.
that room is the dust. Because
Dusting.
I had a Joe
Ugh.
collection out, hundreds of figures, and one day I was like, oh, I got to dust all these. And I got so fed up, I just put them all away, clean
Yeah.
them up, put them away.
Yeah, I used to basically dust my room with an air duster.
Yeah.
Until my wife says all you're doing is moving it around, and I thought,
Yep.
"Bugger." So I take 2 days to completely tidy my room out and dust it all and put it all back.
We just got to keep the fan on to keep the dust moving. It never settles. You're good to go.
Yeah, you got to get like a negative pressure system and like just set up a clean room, man.
Either that or what bars have when they have a smoking room. You have an industrial air filter, and it hangs from the ceiling. It's the size of a small air conditioner, and all it does is suck air in, filter it, and blow it out.
Yep.
Then you eliminate the dust.
Mm.
Yeah,
I'm in
can't
Scotland. I
imagine.
need as much heat as I can. If anything, it's blowing air in my room. It just makes it cold. I'm in
yeah,
Scotland.
no,
It's
I
one of
can't.
those
Yeah,
ones, it's raining, it's sunny, it's snowing, and that's just in the last half hour.
well,
In Scotland, they say if you don't like the weather, hang around 20 minutes.
Oh, that's the same thing
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, that's Midwest.
New England. That's a saying. Yes, that's where I'm from.
Yeah.
For years. Yeah, if you don't like with the weather, wait 5 minutes. It'll change.
Yeah, we had a storm blow through. It was like 90 degrees here a few weeks ago.
Oh, I
and
saw
the storm
that.
moved in, and it was 55 degrees and shady.
That does not happen down here in San Diego.
Yeah,
No.
it was crazy. It was like
San
Wizard of
Diego
Oz.
is always the same.
Apples throwing trees at
Yep.
us and everything.
Yep.
So, well, who's the guest tonight? Is it Mahler?
No, it's a Gundam.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That should be fun. I like him. He's funny.
Oh yeah.
Just some of the stuff he comes out with. And you're sitting
Is
there
he the
thinking,
one that does the animation for his avatar? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was on once before, and Perry Chan had a field day with him.
Yep.
Yes.
I
I'd
think
like to
there's
be
a
on
lot
that
of
show.
stuff last week.
I
you
have
would-
some opposite opinions. I'd love to go at Az for a few minutes and talk about some of the things he doesn't like and say, come on, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the real here.
We just got done with the As versus ZBS. We don't need to create any more friends.
I was
Oh,
watching
God, yeah.
Az in Quarterback talking Judge Dredd, and I'm shouting at the screen, no, you've got the wrong point, because we're talking about comics, and they didn't really read the comics. They've read a few of them. And I'm shouting at them. That's not what it is. Because they're talking about that somebody had mentioned in the comment about the fatties. And the two of them had no idea who the fatties were. So I put the comment, the League of Fatties wearing the belly wheels and did. and I'm sitting there shouting at the screen. I thought, there's no point putting all that in a comment. Basically, just sounds as if I'm.
So it can be read 2 hours later.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I basically just sat and shouted at the screen the whole time.
Yeah.
Because I do like my Judge Dredd, and that's why my
that last movie with Carl Urban, I thought that was fantastic. I don't know how
well,
you felt about that.
do you know what my ideal movie would be? Carl Urban in the mega city from the Stallone movie.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
take the ABC Warrior, Hershey, and the city, and there you go, and put Carl Urban in there.
You know, I got real excited for Judge Dredd because we bought an entire warehouse container of a comic collection was stored like for 20 years from a store, and in it was a whole bunch of the 2000 AD UK newspaper publications that he originated from, but they were nowhere near his first appearance. The only thing we pulled,
it didn't originate from them. He was in the comic 2000 AD issue 2. He started in, and they basically. The comic, the newspapers, they published it in there after the fact. It started in 2000 AD issue 2.
Yeah, it was almost like a newspaper type of print.
Well,
it was like or did it start as a comic? Because the stuff I have is like a big pile of newspapers, but it's a comic form.
Well, it started as a comic.
Oh, yeah, just like that.
Just basically that, yeah. So it's basically the old paper comic.
Yeah, that's what we had. It was a big pile of those, and I got real excited. But the only thing we found that was of note was we had Neil Gaiman's first published work was also in that series. That's
how the comic books used to be, paper, and it is basically.
Oh God, I'd give anything to go back to those days. You know how heavy a long box is full with new comics. Oh God.
Yeah, I know. I do like. I've got a few of them for my reading. They're my current reading.
That was good.
And Rogue Trooper's going to be accordingly one of the next movies they're thinking about doing.
Nice.
Well, this is the one that I read last night. I don't remember which one it was, but I just love the old paper.
Oh, it's the best.
Yes.
And I don't know, Justin, if you saw the new Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy.
Oh,
basically,
God, yeah. They've been trying to make them a couple for a very long time. And honestly, Warner Brothers has fought them on that and said, no, they are friends, and that's it. And then finally, I think earlier this year in January, February, when they did Future State, they basically poop canned all the titles and went to this, oh, look, here's what's going to happen years from now. And then nothing sold. I didn't order a single book from my store for Future State, customers only. And then it bombed. We went back to the normal titles, and they went to that. And it's the gay pride, the Juneteenth thing. And honestly, you know, I get it. If you've dated the Joker, I could see you running arms into a woman, but
but that was what made series fun.
See the thing about comic books and even the movies. See any love interest in it, I've never been interested.
Really, I've always loved the romantic side of like the X-Men. It always was nice change from like maybe it was Chris Claremont's writing that really did it for me. But I've been a fan of the romantic part of comics, you know, because you can't just do all action. You got to have some actual soap opera story in there. But
if
like
I watch soap opera, I'll go and watch the TV with my wife, and as I used to do when I was watching the TV with my mum. I wanted action. Judge Dredd. Look at Sylvester Stallone movie. Look at Sylvester Stallone movie. They tried to put a relationship between Hershey and Dredd in because they needed a relationship. No.
Well, look at Conan and Valeria from the Schwarzenegger movie back in the 80s.
Well, that's true.
That's a strong woman. I was infatuated with her as a child, and I'll tell you what, I'm not ashamed of that at all. I tell my wife,
Sonja, Britt Ekland, Red Sonja.
Oh yeah, Red Sonja, Therese Nielsen. I just watched that on Amazon Prime a few weeks ago. That movie is just as good. You can tell they put a lot of money into it, but it didn't quite get the fandom that Conan did.
I know. But then again, if you've got Arnold Schwarzenegger punching a camel, come on.
I'd watch that. I'd pay money to see that compared to what I see nowadays. I'm actually got my teeth gritted because I'm an old G.I. Joe fan, and that Snake Eyes movie is coming quick. And I don't know if you guys ever read those comics back in the day. But, you know, they always talk about whitewashing characters and how mad they get, but they kind of...
You had G.I. Joe. We had Action Man.
Yes, you did. Action Man. Action Force, Action Man. But they had... They turned him into an Asian gentleman the guy from Crazy Rich Asians, which he is a great actor, and that movie was good, but they didn't need to change his ethnicity. Am I that boring?
Boom, boom, boom.
No. I just had
boom, boom.
But Justin, I have to get a priest in touch with you because he has a bunch of G.I. Joe comics he's looking to sell.
Madre Dios!
Now, believe it or not, Dan Harding from the Spacebook hated this movie. Absolutely hated this movie.
I've got the physical media sitting there. I love it. It's just
I like the joke how all the Johnsons are all having sex and having kids with each other, so everything is named Johnson and
everybody's a Johnson.
And Johnson. They're all doing it.
Howard Johnson with one flavor.
And Justin, Mongo was an Iowa Hawkeye.
No.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
That's Alex, whatever his name was.
All right.
It's Alex
there's
Harris.
the horse knockout.
That was just a copy of what Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Hell, better than
the
that.
eyes on that horse. That eyes on that horse. He was like, "Whoa!"
Better than that. He was in Victor Victoria.
Mr. Papadopoulos.
There you go.
Damn.
See?
Wow.
That's incredible.
All right, boys. I gotta pop out, heading over to Mom's, but I will be watching the show. I will. It's good being on here, and I will talk to y'all later.
Thanks for joining us.
Good talk when
Thanks for having me. All right, happy Friday, boys.
Happy Friday. Okay, now we can talk about Max, right?
I'm gonna have to go as well because the stream has gone up.
Hey, they should be waiting for us.
Yeah, well, it's set for 4:30, so by 5 o'clock it ought to go.
Yeah,
live.
we still got.
So, 10 o'clock over here, 10 p.m. over here.
Yeah.
Before you head out, one of the things I asked Gary was, I know they probably won't be able to do a Friday night viewing in Vegas. I'm thinking it'd be kind of neat to get us all together to do a watch party of Friday Night Tights.
Yeah, that would.
I don't know how that would work, but that's just the thought I had.
Are they gonna go back to their rooms and pull that off, or what?
I don't know.
Yeah, and then the question is, can you get the bandwidth from Wi-Fi to be able to do it? I mean,
the problem is, how many people are we expecting?
Well, that's the other one. I'm like, you can only put 9 on a stream at any given one time.
They could never do that show live because the smart comments coming out of the audience
that's what Gary said.
Seconds would just be overwhelming.
That's what Gary said.
Yeah. No, that wouldn't work.
1,500 people going, that's what she said,
Okay.
We'll catch you at this. We'll catch you at the stream.
We'll definitely see you all later. Take care.
Sounds good.
Later.
Bye.
So just I was going to say, I just started reading these last night.
Oh yeah, I found a whole bunch of those in a reprint collection. Part of that.
Yeah, this is a reprint.
Trailer. Yeah. There's a whole, you can find a whole bunch of them from the late 80s, early 90s where they just went back and they just reprinted a whole bunch of them because people love the way they look and they love the stories inside. And those old terror and horror comics, man, people just love those because it's just a story. You don't have to worry about who the character is most of the time.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing about them. Basically, I love older comics and the older stories because I was never a horror one, but I still love the old Frankenstein and stuff like that. And you used to get the comics with them on it, the Wolfman, the lot. They were just classic to watch.
Oh yeah.
I got Justin here. I'll show you my collection. I think I did this last week, but this is a program called CLZ.
Oh, you'll be happy to know, Chris. I sent the Betty, the Freudian slip, Betty Veronica, whatever that issue is, when he's carrying her out of the water. Yeah, we sent that in to be graded, so we'll see that in a couple months.
Well, let me know when it gets.
I will.
So, but the thing I like about this is it tells you what time range your comics are from.
Oh, that's neat.
I mean, these are the ones that I've entered. So, I mean,
so your collection is massing in that particular area on the screen with the big spike.
Well, the big spike is when I really started collecting for the first time.
Yeah, space to fill there, buddy. It's a little low in the middle.
Well, but the thing is, in the middle, the only one that I think I'd be interested in the middle was like Red Sun.
Oh, yeah. Is that all action or is that Superman?
That's the Superman one, isn't it?
See, I'm really handicapped here, boys, because I did not read anything but Marvel. Honestly, I didn't seriously start reading DC until I started my job here about
Red Sun is basically Superman if he didn't land in Kansas and he landed in Russia.
Yeah.
That's
It's
right.
just-
I have seen parts of it. I've seen there's a movie on Netflix or something that they have.
The movie is not as good. I mean,
sure.
the movie's a little woke where the comic was not.
Welcome
But
to the
I don't
world.
know if it's showing you this. I got about 500 Superman comics.
That's half of action. There you go. You're on your
The
way.
thing is, I've not got anywhere near as many comics. I stopped my Spider-Man ones with Spectacular Spider-Man, and a lot of my comics are the old type things like.
Oh yeah. You love that Dread.
There we go.
Yep. And basically, I've got a few of those, and I've got a lot of the paper ones, and the newer type, the Spectacular Spider-Man's when I stopped, when Doc Ock became Spidey, and I went, nope, not for me.
That Superior Spider-Man series where Doc Ock took over his body, a lot of people hated it, and I get why. But if you read the series, and I read the whole thing, it was interesting aspect to see Doc Ock learning about who Peter Parker is and was while he's in his body. Like, and he throws a punch at a guy, and he almost knocks the guy in half. He says, Peter's always been this strong. And then he sees Mary Jane, and the memories come washing back, and he goes, whoa, that woman. He just, everything hits him. He starts to learn, which made the character great. The fact that they took him back to being Doc Ock coming up here in the Sinister War, really, I'm like, oh, great. That's like when they took Dr. Doom and they had him doing infamous Iron Man, where he became Iron Man for a little bit. And then they completely did a 180 and sent him right back to being, I'm Dr. Doom, and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And I miss when they have great story arcs like that. It's a shame. It's going to end up in failure because they can't keep grunting that direction. I mean, it's a natural progression for a character to grow and to be like that, like Loki. But then they have to go back because people want their traditional Dr. Dooms and things like that.
Well, I've got the full run of that Spider-Man, but didn't like it at all. I want my heroes and my villains to be separate. I don't care if they're nice or not, or they've got they're my villains, so I don't care if they've actually got a reason to be a villain. They're a villain. End of story. I'm very black and white in that respect, I'm afraid. So.
Well, you'll appreciate this. That collection I talked about we bought last year, I opened up a cardboard apple crate, just something you would store stuff in. Bunch of newspapers. I left the newspapers up, and underneath were stored raw, not bags and boards, but they were perfectly preserved. Amazing Spider-Man 61 through 149.
Ooh.
Death of Gwen Stacy. I have the first appearance of Punisher at my house. My boss let me keep it when it came back in 8.0 CGC. I said, yeah, slab, stick in my collection. We had first Morbius, Death of Gwen Stacy, Death of Captain Stacy, Death of Green Goblin. It was just ridiculous. And I saw that first Punisher because I always liked the anti-hero. I grew up. My first comic
was different because it's set up as an anti-hero, but it's when you've got a villain that they try and make a hero.
Okay,
So the one I'm going to bring home next time I come back is this one. I forgot to bring this one.
Oh, that's an homage cover to the Death of Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
I love the Deadpool homage cover. Sometimes they
do.
If you ever see David Nakayama's work, he has done some covers that I wish I had a camera. I'll get a camera before I do this next time. But he's done some covers that just his colors and his artistry are so beautiful. And then he's got one it's a Captain America cover, but Deadpool's standing there proud, as tall as the man, holding his shield up. There's burritos flinging off in the distance and unicorns, and I was like, that's awesome. I had that signed by him last year when I was at C2E2.
Oh.
Yeah, he a lot of those artists. If you ever get a chance to get up to Chicago, I think they're going to do it second week of December this year. That's the largest con next to San Diego and New York. That is a huge con. It's at the McCormick Center.
I've wanted to go to an American con. See the big cons here.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I've got hundreds of books that I used to carry like a big crate. Yeah, there it is. That's
I've seen that one. I have seen that one.
When I saw this,
somebody posted that recently.
We got Ancaster.
I don't even read. Don't even read Captain America. And I was like, I got to have that book. That's mine.
I did too. I never read it. I just wanted it for the cover. I think I reached out to him. It's like, do you have this in a poster? Because I want this.
Do what I did. Look.
And he's gone.
Just get the one you want and actually photocopy it and put it in a frame.
DJ, I got something you don't have. That's Judge Dredd. In that collection, I have a no smoking sign that was drawn by the artist. It's Judge Dredd holding a punk by the collar. He's shaking him, and the guy's half swallowed his cigarette. It's like, no smoking.
That's from
as
one
much
of the
as you love Dredd,
that's-
I'll have to find a way to get. It's framed on my wall just because I like that stuff. But you love Judge Dredd. I'm gonna have to find a way to get that to you. Give Father Miller your address, and I'll send that up to you sometime.
But
you're looking for a webcam. I bought mine the one I'm using now is bought at Walmart.
Well, my wife found out I had money and she took it. So
I got a webcam. Believe it or not, it wasn't the greatest, but it's great for just doing bits and pieces like this. And it cost me £20 here. So you're talking about maybe $25, $30.
Oh yeah, I mean, it'll be fine. I just gave her every penny I had because she's my wife's an executive. She's my sugar mom, and she makes all the money. I work at a comic store part time because I've been a stay home dad for 12 years, raising 4 kids, and which is difficult. And actually, it's not that hard at all.
My wife lets me. Gives me the money.
See, I have to say no. I got this from the store. Wink, wink. Or I just put it in my office and I don't let her see it. Like I'll start rotating out the collection. I'll put a new one where an old one used to be, and then she won't notice it. And it's kind of that she's always been a jock and she's never been a nerd.
It's like you see on the TV. Oh no, those clothes I've had them for ages, but there's no tags on them. I've just never taken the tag off them. I do the same. What do you mean? I've had that in my room for ages. It's been there for months.
Yeah, you don't pay attention. You don't notice me. Turn it around.
Let me know how that goes.
The last year's been a killer for me because I would get things delivered to my work, so I would come home with them in my bag.
Yes, I have a customer who does that.
Now I'm working from home.
Yeah,
it was easy because my wife was still working, so I was getting stuff to deliver the house, no problem. Now my wife works from home as well.
Look that scene from Crazy Rich Asians when the wife comes home and has all the maids hide all of her stuff all over the house.
But now my wife's working from home. She'll say more junk because the postman's every day.
I gotta ask Ironcaster, and this would be a good time to go back to what we were going to talk about. Black Widow,
great movie.
Haven't seen it.
Well, you can hear me and Chris argue about it then.
Yesterday's war.
Oh,
or tomorrow's war. Sorry, tomorrow's war.
I'm just frankly sick of the Marvel formula, and I know the fate of the character. It feels too little, too late.
Mm-hmm. She's falling from the ship, and yet she's going to live. She's being confronted by all the Black Widows, yet she's going to live.
If she wasn't killed off, and this was her first movie ever coming out of the ring, she's going to live anyway. Nobody's going to kill off the main character. So it's the same as with Iron Man, Thor, whatever. Anytime the very first movie they came out, they're going to live anyway. So there was never any of that in any of them, because apart from was it Endgame, they were the snap and they're all gone. That was the only time when they knew some were going to disappear. But every other movie, you knew they were going to survive. You look at TV programs like Star Trek: The Next Generation, Tasha Yar.
That was a big surprise.
That was a big surprise. But because you would normally think, no, she's a star of the show, she's not going to die.
That broke me. When I was a kid, that show came on. I loved it. And then they killed Tasha Yar. And I'm like, no, not the strong Bond girl. I like her.
She was my favorite.
Why couldn't it have been Wesley?
Who scored with the robot, like the second episode.
She was my favorite character, Tasha Yar, so she was. But they killed her, and I thought, who's next? And that was the thing, because as soon as they did that with one of the characters, it's not as if it was a character who was in for a couple of episodes.
Who do you think she made mad? She must have made a writer angry to get killed off like 4 episodes. It was the first season, right?
Did she not actually have a movie? It was coming out. I know she was in the movie with Sigourney Weaver.
Look it up.
It was a lie. It was something about Sigourney Weaver was a boss who had taken someone's idea.
Oh,
and she was
you're thinking of the one Harrison Ford was in. That was Fudge Sickles. I'm usually really good with this.
Sigourney Weaver was in it.
Working Girl's the name of the movie.
She was also in it as well. She played the girlfriend of, I think, Sigourney Weaver's husband.
Melanie Griffith was the main. Joan Cusack was her friend. Nora Dunn. What was Tasha Yar's real name?
She also say that she thought the Star Trek show was going nowhere, and she wanted to pursue a Hollywood career.
So I don't do it. I'm trying to remember her name.
Well, she's Bing Crosby's granddaughter.
Aye, it's something Crosby.
Denise Crosby.
Denise. Aye. So, but aye. So, I was sure she didn't. It wasn't a case of she didn't do a Joey from Friends. You saw that episode where he actually pissed off one of the writers and his character in the TV program in it.
Oh yeah, that was
walk into a lift and it wasn't there, and he's trying to get other people in the cast to come with him so he didn't get killed. I don't think she did. She pissed somebody off so she got killed off. I think she wanted out. So what they did was they made it a spectacular.
Well, I'm looking at her. I'm looking at her movie feed of all the things that she's done, and it's not impressive.
Oh, I know. Basically, I saw her in that one movie, and that was it. I've not really seen, apart from when she turned back up in the Star Trek as.
Oh yeah, she was a Romulan later on, right?
She was a Romulan. She played her own mother. Oh, sorry, her own daughter. She played Tasha Yar's daughter because they'd gone back in time with the Yesterday's Enterprise. Was it Yesterday's Enterprise?
She was in Deep Impact.
Oh yeah.
What did she do in Deep Impact?
Yeah, she was the mother of.
That's right, of the girl who had
with Elijah Wood.
Yeah. What's her name? Who was in Eyes Wide Shut? God, remember that girl.
Kidman? Oh no,
Kidman.
Lily Sobieski.
Yes,
she was the daughter. That was her mother. Yeah, and she ran away with her little sister baby that on the bike with Frodo into the woods. Oddly enough, up a mountain. He went up a mountain into the woods.
So I was doing a little bit of looking to try to book for Vegas, and I'm not gonna be able to go. So unfortunately,
oh no.
Yep. But because it was frankly a lot of the hotel bookings and the resort fees just I can't. It's like I started getting to them. It's like, oh,
yeah,
oh,
the price looks good, but then when you see the resort fee,
yeah. So I'm going to go to I'm going to go to a comic convention here in Michigan that same weekend.
You'll be there in spirit.
Yep. And I believe.
Have you ever been down to Chicago for the C2E2 convention they have there? It's been about 10 years running.
Not.
It's fantastic. If you want to see as many artists and writers, I mean, I've met all of them. Chris Claremont goes every year and signs autographs for $5.
Oh,
I saw Silvestri there. Liefeld was there, but I wasn't going to pay him $40 for a signature. I met Jim Lee there. They have a ridiculously large, what they call artist alley, where anybody you could think of that has spare time will go to this because it's the biggest one in the Midwest. So if they're doing it in December 10th, just go to c2e2.com and you can find information. But that's a great con. Just check it out.
I could
the biggest one in the UK
even drive that
London,
and
they're expensive to go to.
Yeah. Oh, well, the tickets are like, I don't know. Sometimes I go for free because I have an account with Diamond and they send you, but that's ending. I think it's like $45, $50 a day for advanced tickets. But when you go on it's like there's artists like crazy, all these internet exclusive artists that do covers, you can't get anywhere but their websites. They'll be there. Clayton Crane did a Venom cover where he's got an American flag over his shoulders like a towel, like he just walked out of the gym. And I got 2 of those, had them graded, one for me, one for a friend. And when we saw what happened, he had sold out of that printing the first day. He didn't save any for the second day. And that book sold for $400. It paid for my whole trip.
Yeah.
Once I got home.
Friends went to the London Comic Con. She says she's only ever been to one day because that's all she could afford. And she showed me her pictures. She had a picture with Stan Lee and a picture with Tom Baker.
Oh,
2 people she met on that one day. And I was sitting there thinking,
yeah, Stan Lee was in Iowa one time, Chris, and my wife did not shove me out the door and make me go. It would have cost about $300 to go meet him. And I was like, why aren't you making me do this? I won't spend this money on my own. You have to make me. And she wouldn't do it. And I was like, I blame her. It's all her fault. I didn't mean Stan Lee because of my wife. Ha ha ha.
So I got a shirt in the mail. I'm planning to wear out to that. It just came in the mail today. So I got a Android shirt.
Just got my box 2 days ago. The warts and all box came. I had the executive.
How did that arrive? Was that UPS or USPS?
It was.
I'm sorry. I think I have my box right behind me, so I can go find mine. I can see what the label says.
Ours came UPS.
Okay.
Ours came UPS. Yeah, but it was shipped in the colorful box that he had made. He didn't have that inside anything else. So the boxes were pretty.
Yeah, I saw the boxes. They looked really cool. Unfortunately,
I'm just getting the books. I don't know if I'm going to get a box or not.
I never actually signed up for it. The only one I've actually signed up was for the rabbis.
Well, I backed both of his executives for Wrecked Planet and Warts and All because I wanted to jump in with both feet. And I figured, now they're selling for like $500 on eBay, so I know I made a good investment. And I'm reading. What's cool is I backed the slipcase, which gave you the hardcover and then like a bunch of unprinted stuff that was never released. But along with that, I got a binder, I got cards, I got stickers, I got a lanyard that broke right away, which is weird. I got a miniature, like the miniatures I used to paint for Warhammer. But all that stuff came in a bag, and then I got a paperback, which was the hardcover I bought. That came with it. So all that stuff was given to me in addition to what I backed. That's the box. That's the box I got. Yeah.
Yep.
You got just a T-shirt? That's a huge box for a T-shirt.
Oh no! This I got the Warts and All book.
Did you back the executive one then, the big one?
I got the Blood Honey executive. That's the one I'm waiting on.
See, the only reason I never actually did, because I was actually in the process of saving up for a new rig. Basically new computer, and I was saving like mad over the last while, and I never got a chance to dig me.
Is that the book there?
Yeah, this is the Paul's 90s stuff.
Yeah, that's the one I have. I got the slipcase one. That's a great book. I've just started to read it.
I've been jumping into reading a bit of Ultra Mega. It was a book Nick Weiser recommended to me from Image, which is basically a kaiju story about guys with powers fighting big robots. It gets very bloody, very disgusting. It's a lot of fun to read. Are
you also picking up the Skybound weeklies that are coming out now from Image? They have parts of that story in them.
I was unaware of that.
Yes, Robert Kirkman in his infinite wisdom, and this was actually really smart, he's released a weekly title. Issue 2 is out. Issue 3 will be out next week. They've got 8 on order, I think. But it's basically like Image Comics Presents kind of book. It has 4 stories in the book. It's $4.99, and it's got a Walking Dead story. It's got the kaiju one you're talking about and a couple others. He's guaranteed there will be first appearances in almost every issue, but it's for the deep fans. Go find this. It's called Skybound.
I can recommend an old one. It's very violent, very blood. Basically, cowboys and dinosaurs. How's that sound? It's 2000 AD called Flesh. Basically, to satisfy the meat requirements of the mega cities, they had a time machine that sent people back that could harvest the meat from dinosaurs.
I bet that's good eating.
Aye, basically, so they used to do burgers and Brunto. Basically, it was just ultra violent because there was Old One Eye, a Tyrannosaurus Rex that had been. They used to stun them using electric shocks, and they would actually drive it into the brains of the carnivores to kill them. But they did it with Old One Eye, and it went through her eye but missed her brain, and all it did was make her angry. And she was actually, it's called Flesh. That is a good, violent comic book.
What year are we talking? How old is it?
That is
I gotta say,
it's one I really love since I've read it, because I basically, unfortunately, I'm sure it's within the first couple of hundred, because I had the first 100 2000 AD except issue 1, and they got binned. They got binned. My wife binned my ex binned them, so she did. But they were. I'm sure it was in the first couple of hundred run. And Flesh, it was one when I first read it, didn't like it. I liked the idea of cowboys and dinosaurs, but it was a wee bit too graphic. Basically, people getting ripped apart. Even for me, and I loved Judge Dredd at the time. But see, the more I read it, the more I loved it, because it was just so good.
I like a good book that can depict that really well. I'm trying to think of the one I just started. Okay, so there was it's a new Barbarians, Barbaric. It's called Barbaric. I think it's from Vault, and the covers looked incredible. And then I saw someone ordered it, and I didn't order for the store because only one guy asked for it, because I have to be very careful about my backstock. I got to make sure I'm not wasting money. And I saw the book. Oh, this looks incredible, and it was really violent, really barbaric, and there's axes and entrails going everywhere. And the only number one I could get my hands on was the polybagged one. And I go, it must have a real graphic cover. I'm like, great, I'll buy 5 of those. I'll sell them. We'll find someone to buy them. Let's bring this series in. And I get the book in, and I open it up, and it was a semi-famous artist. I can't remember the name, but it was a completely nude lady on the front cover. It was not barbaric hack-a-slashy. It was a nudie lady. And I said, well, I'll just put those over there.
Yeah. So, have you watched is it Primal? It was Gary that recommended it.
Oh, yeah.
That, because I started watching it just because he'd recommended, talked about it, because I don't normally watch new stuff. And I watched it, and my God, that is fantastic.
Is that a show?
I think it's only 1 season, 10 episodes. Maybe. And it is absolutely amazing. No dialogue. It's just
here it is.
Dinosaur caveman. And basically, it's just Primal. It is superb.
The animation looks really cool, actually. Yeah.
Tartakovsky?
I think so.
Tartakovsky.
Thank you.
Yes.
But
Gendy or Gendy?
I've got it here.
I was going to say the one that I started reading because Gary recommended was The Invaders from the 1970s, I think.
Let's say which one. I think they'd read it Invaders several times.
Well, the first run.
I remember seeing the TV show, The Invaders. Is it based on? Is that
not that? Not the British version of it.
No, it's like Captain America and Namor and a couple other the randos.
No, the only Invaders I ever saw was the sci-fi one about. It was almost like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Right.
It was just called Invaders. And
no, this was a Marvel title, I think, right? Chris?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Because somebody asked him what would be a good read to start, and he recommended The Invaders.
A lot of people aren't loving it right now because of how incredibly overdone it is. But I got in. I'm an old X-Men fan, and I got in on Jonathan Hickman's new X-Men run that started with House of X and Powers of X last year. They were both 6-issue series that intertwined, and they've spawned 9 to 12 different X-Men titles that are all interlinked, whereas they all touch on the same geographic location and they all work hand in hand with each other, which is a lot of overwhelming reading. But as an X-Men fan, that's been a fun read. If you can find the House of X, Powers of X hardcover, or they call it the Hoxpox, it's like $60, but it's an incredible vision for the X-Men. It's something completely different. They retconned a major character, turned this one into a mutant, and their ability changes it explains all of the different X-Men timelines, where why do they look this way one time and they look like this a different time, and why is everything is a different type. She's gone back in time, and when she dies, she goes back to her body as an infant child with all of her memories. And she starts influencing what happens with the X-Men by talking to Xavier. One time she sides with Xavier. One time she sides with Magneto. The next time she decides to marry Apocalypse. And every time she tries to see which method will save the mutants at the end of time, which one will be the right path to take. And right now they're on one of those paths. And it's kind of fascinating to read the whole thing. It's a different take.
It sounds like the What If series, doesn't it? Basically just to see how different things would play out.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it is, and it's funny because I always liked that the Days of Future Past movie was really a funny joke on the X-Men because it's exactly how the comics would work. It would all be screwed up. Somebody would go back in time and it would change everything, and then we would just start writing comics from that point on. Say, okay, all these changes are now canon, and we're moving on. Let's fix everything we screwed up and move on.
I see that Primal. It's Gendy Tartakovsky.
Gendy, okay.
Gendy. I was just
kind of looking up about the time I had started really collecting comics and reading X-Men. It was when Matt Fraction was on the book.
That's going to happen around somewhere in the 20s, right?
About 2009, 2010, when it was the middle of Dark Reign.
Yeah, I closed my first store in 2003, and I walked away. I walked away from all the nerddom, and I was gone for about 10 years. In fact, I didn't get back into comics until the X-Men versus Avengers happened, and I think it was 2010. Maybe 2000. 2012. 2012.
Cyclops had such a great costume in that.
Yeah, and he was. I went back and did a lot of wiki reading all the stuff, and I realized that Cyclops is more of almost like a military leader. Like he was really in charge. He had everybody, doing what they were supposed to do, and him and Wolverine were like buddies. And I missed all of that. And now,
there was kind of an interesting evolution of Cyclops where the mutants had largely been basically sterilized and depopulated. They were on the road to extinction, and
yes, M Day, yes,
yeah, and then everything was after them. So Cyclops had to get more serious, more militant to do that. He basically followed in the steps of Xavier, or in the steps of Magneto in a way.
Yeah. He had to be more serious about preserving. Like I purchased, I probably got 15 trades on my wall right now that are all of those books, like X-Force and all these different books that tie it into the Hope Summers and Cable and all of the story of bringing her back, and apparently she was the spawn where they started seeing New Mutants starting to pop up.
Yep.
Now it's ridiculous. Now they just resurrect everybody. That's the main premise. No, that's the main premise of they had a character come out in Uncanny X-Men, I think it was Volume 3, called Gold Balls. This guy would shoot gold balls everywhere. My name's Gold Balls. And
they definitely never call any character that nowadays, would they?
I was like, hey, my name's Gold Balls.
I remember
the color, so it's okay.
I remember in the comic he was saying, please don't call me Gold Balls. And then the next panel was just Gold Balls.
Yeah, I like it. That's my name now. And now what they found out that he wasn't actually shooting like gold balls. He was firing unfertilized embryos at everybody. That's what they're saying. And they're using this group of X-Men called the Five. And I wish I could explain it. But he creates the unfertilized eggs. And then one of the mutants has the ability to fertilize them or make them into viable mutants. And then one mutant ability has the ability to age things over time. They work heavily in the alcohol department, making beer and rum and stuff like that right now. But they age, they create the egg, they fertilize the egg, and then the third mutant, he will age the egg, and then Hope Summers, there's another mutant involved. She amplifies everybody's ability so it happens the right way. So it's very resurrection. And then the last mutant is Professor Xavier has a Cerebro that captures, backups all the memories of every mutant on the planet that's ever lived up to a certain point. And then what they can do is they can send them off on missions, and when they die, they go to what they call the Resurrection Protocol, and they get in line to be resurrected. Then they pop out of an egg, and Storm's there, and she's like, "This is a mutant. How do I know her name? And she's my sister." And it's very ceremonial, and it's a neat concept. Is that you look at the dark side of this is what happens when they implant the wrong memories in the wrong body. What happens when like X Factor comic, that has basically been FBI, SC, what do they call it, crime scene investigators, CSI, where their job is they have to go out and make sure that person's dead before they create another one and implement its memories into that body. So I've been reading that, which I usually hate X Factor, but that was pretty good. But that's everything in that system is all around this whole thing where the mutants now, and they all live on the island of Krakoa. It's a mutant itself. They live there. That's their nation. And they have medicines that create drugs that extend life and cure all diseases. And now they're bidding to have validity among the United Nations and the rest of the world. They want to be recognized as a sovereign nation. And that's the premise of the book, is creating a sovereign nation of mutants that is recognized by every other country. And they're buying that with drugs that are, cure-alls and things like that. So it's a fun read. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, because Hickman has said, I wrote a beginning and I wrote an end, but whatever Marvel wants to do in the middle is really up to them. So we'll see how it ends. But that's what I've been delved into for the last year and a half.
Yeah, that
I like the last time they tried to be a nation. That Nation X era that I was going back to was that was my X-Men.
That was the island Magneto created, right? He pulled it out on the coast of San Francisco or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some great stuff in there.
Yep. I remember that series, I must admit.
In the middle of the event, was it Fear Itself? It was basically a possessed juggernaut was coming for them. It was coming to destroy all the mutants and their little island. And they start deploying all these little squads to try to stop them. One team, it's like a team with some teleporters. They try to stop him, teleport him to Norway or anywhere else. And before he can even take another step, he just teleports himself right back to where he was. And they look over to Cyclops like, well, I guess it's time for Plan B. And Cyclops says, no, it's time for Plan 2. Plan B implies I only have 26.
It's I'm pretty good, but that logic doesn't follow at all. Plan B, Plan 2. So what did they end up doing?
Ultimately, I believe it was Colossus and Magic wound up going to see Cyttorak.
Oh, that's right, because he ends up with the Juggernaut powers, doesn't he?
Yep, because they convinced Cyttorak that Juggernaut's causing mayhem that Cyttorak likes, but it's not in his name.
This is the best.
I love this.
That is Ryan Reynolds voicing the Juggernaut, by the way, if you guys didn't know.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh!
Yeah. I just like when Colossus snaps his thumbs, he goes, "You commie son!" He just throws the Russian slur out there.
Well, I know I showed this last week. Justin didn't see it, but this is why I'm collecting the old Supermans.
Oh, I saw
because
this,
love this. I love this.
You know, I'm doing the same thing, Chris. I'm collecting stuff that I don't think they like. I bid on it. I purchased it. I got it. I love it. Joe Jusko, the artist back in the 90s, was huge. And he did a lot of voluptuous drawings and stuff. And there's one of this poster he did of She-Hulk laying on the beach just outside the Muscle Beach cage area. And she's holding...
I'm not going for the sex appeal. I'm just going for...
Oh, the ridiculousness, yes.
This is misogynist. Is that
misogynistic?
The word?
Yeah, very, very demeaning to women, yes.
I know that I showed this one. I don't know if you saw... Let me see if I can bring it up. Because this is why I've been collecting those comics, and I bought for those watching, I bought a bunch from Justin not too long ago.
Yeah, part of that collection. We had everything in that collection. It was crazy.
Let's see.
By the way, I think I might have found more. FYI.
Awesome. Of Lois Lane?
Oh, no, not Lois. I tell you what, no, I take it back. But what I found was a bunch of Superboys. I think it was when they changed.
You tell me
they changed one title and they changed it to Superboy because it wasn't, and it didn't do very well.
But I mean, this is what I love about the old comics. I mean, you look at Superman's face, and
he's so happy. I can't wait to murder Lois. There.
But I mean, it had nothing to do with the real story. But I just love.
She burned his toast.
I mean, that would never be reprinted today.
Oh yeah. Well, kind of like the. Can you pull up that Betty, Veronica, Archie, whatever that?
No, I cannot. I cannot do that on this one.
Yeah, those old covers. This is
my pre-stream. I cannot do that.
There were some covers that just, back then it was completely innocent to say what you said.
I'll tell you what. I'll put it in the private chat.
Okay. But, it was perfectly innocent to say one phrase. But nowadays, because of, slang in our language, the phrase has become something completely different. And you can't say it out loud without everybody thinking the same thing you are when you say it. So that comic, of course, has become a $300-400 book if you can find a mint copy of it.
Okay, the link is in the private chat. I cannot put this in the public chat.
No. It's not.
I probably see this goes back to live streaming with Drunk 3PO because I would get in trouble if I showed that.
Yeah, Drunk 3PO, you probably can't control him long enough to have him on the show.
No. He's actually good. It'd be Ryan Canal that'd be the problem.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'd be more curious about what would happen if you got Cecil on.
Cecil amazes me. I still haven't figured out why he constantly wears a mask. I think he was on a panel wearing the mask
from his own stream.
Apparently, I said the name that dare not be spoken.
Did the pastor call you and cut you right off? Wow.
I hit the stupid mouse button on this thing.
That's okay. Gary's done that a few times. We've seen.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, I've done that. I did that as well the other night. So I did. I blame StreamYards. That's the flesh cover, basically, as you can see. People are getting jumped. It's literally they're just the cavalry, basically the cavalry city, and they're basically the horsemen and the women getting eaten. And that is basically this earliest comic from 2000 AD. So that's the one I would recommend.
Flesh. You were describing it, and I was thinking of that. What's that movie? The Valley of Gwangi. It's one of these like late '60s movies that was about a bunch of cowboys fighting dinosaurs. As one of the big kind of things that's kind of stuck around.
Seen that. I know what one you're talking about. Was it something to do? They were trying to get him for a circus.
I've never seen it. It's always been something I've been kind of aware of.
I think they were actually employed by an American circus to try and get it, and they were using lassos to try and catch them and stuff like that. I've got
We'll
that.
have to
I've got
get John Favreau on that. Maybe it can be a sequel to Cowboys versus Aliens. I'd pay to see that.
So would I. I must admit, Cowboys versus Alien. No matter how bad it was entertaining.
Oh, it was great, and the cast was phenomenal.
Was
he talked all those people into being in that
Harrison
movie.
Ford.
Uh-huh.
I think Harrison Ford owed him a favor, and he used Harrison Ford to get everybody else to sign on to that movie. Daniel Craig, hey, look, Harrison Ford's going to be in it. Really? Oh, Harrison Ford. Okay, well, I guess I'll do this movie.
I thought that was
aliens.
it's just one of those movies. I was sitting there thinking, really?
Oh my god! That's how it's explained to me growing up. Yeah.
That's how I imagine heaven.
Battle on his dinosaur.
We're just gonna go right on.
Now, is he chasing the Jews through the desert, or is that later?
When I was teaching church history, I read from Ken Ham's book. He's the guy that debated Bill and I, the Science Guy, creation versus evolution. I'll show you. Let me see if I can find the book.
I could flatten that argument so fast. Tell me why trees bear fruit. Tell me why this plant looks like this. If evolution's a real thing, everything would be the same. Pretty much. After millions of years. Maybe not sharks. Sharks are cool.
There it is. This is the book that I... Oh, darn. What really happened to the dinosaurs?
They died. That's what happened. It's pretty simple.
Well, according to Ken Ham, they went on the ark with Moses, or Noah.
And they
excuse me while I go fill up my gas tank now.
If you listen to the Cowboys, they apparently taste very good. Noah must have ate them.
Yeah, I would just love a Flintstone big Bronto rib.
Where is that thing? I saw one this morning, something like that itself.
So you're going to love this.
I know what happened to them. I saw Disney's dinosaurs.
Not to interrupt, the headset I'm wearing belongs to my son because I forgot to pick up an actual headset that's not like a Bluetooth or some fancy. So I have to give this back to him now. So I'm going to leave.
Well, thanks for joining us, Justin.
I'm trying to look at the screen like, how do I get out of this? This is like the second time.
You just hit leave studio or you just close.
All right. Good talking with you, gentlemen. We'll do it again very soon.
Ta-da.
All right, bye.
So did you see who's going to be on tonight?
It's a Gundam.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. I'm just double checking, making sure, see if it's up. Is it up yet?
So I started working on a little bit of a little video series of my own. I've been kind of doing some recording for it. I've been putting some, getting some articles together to do what I'm calling the Robo Roundup, to talk about just, hey, little robot stories and stuff like, oh, there was a new Gundam game announced, and oh, here's some photos from the set of Transformers, stuff like that. Because it's kind of become something of a niche I've been kind of going into. Is just, I have a show talking about Gundam, and it's like, well, I've always kind of been playing into this whole thing of robots are cool.
I'll be honest, I don't know much about it.
I've only seen some of the old Gundam stuff, basically early stuff. I've not watched a lot of Gundam. I can honestly say.
Well, like I said, it was just kind of that example of that. But it was, I figured, well, if there's any kind of interesting little stories, I could something to kind of talk about. The idea honestly kind of stemmed from watching Doomcock's little news show he does on occasion. I was thinking, I've got a lot of little stories that kind of come up that I feel like I don't really make content. I don't make a whole lot of videos. It's mostly just the odd live stream. So I figured, why don't I try something like this? I can try to put something together, try to put some sort of actual video together.
Yeah. I think that's a good way of doing it, because I used to do videos. I used to record them sitting, just talking to the camera. And I felt as if I wasn't getting enough out of it, because I think it's the discourse, talking to each other. It makes the interest, the reviews and stuff like that a lot interesting. That's why I started doing live streams. But I do miss occasionally just sitting there and just talking to myself about a movie I like and try to explain it to someone who's not there, and I don't know if they're listening.
My problem is I just got my laptop back, and for some reason one of the drivers is not allowing me to project the laptop onto the TV screen.
Oh, right. I saw that. Oh.
And so I'm going to be going to Best Buy probably in 2 weeks. I'll probably have them take a look at it. But there's a lot of videos I want to make right now, but I can't because otherwise I just have to work on my laptop screen.
Well, I've got my 3 screens, so I have.
Have you tried a different HDMI cable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried a different TV too. Yeah, so I love the Geek Squad protection plan. I've learned to buy it because it seems every 2 years something happens to one of my laptops. And because of the Geek Squad, it's protected. So,
see, I can't use that, unfortunately, because I would get laughed at because I'm an IT guy. So if I actually get somebody else to fix my machines, they go, huh? So I just say, I can eat up.
I was busy. I needed someone else to do it for me.
So I tried staying up for Nick Weiser's stream last week, and I was able to make it for about a half hour, but it's just late for me.
Well, Friday Night Tights is late for me. So because if it starts obviously we're 10 minutes late. So even if it starts at 11 o'clock here, you're talking about I could get a couple hours and then I just feel knackered, and that's it. Beddy bags for me, and I watch the rest tomorrow.
It's going to be fun as I have to go to the 3 missions tomorrow because I'm leaving for vacation on Monday. And I got to make sure the keys I just got made work because, the beauty of these keys, they're different colors. So you can kind of tell. The problem with these, they're all the same color and the same design. So I had to put little dots things on them.
I used to get the dots and just put them on so they were all different colors.
I just got to make sure the door is open so that way I can drop the keys off tomorrow and then leave as soon as the masses are over to get to the airport.
Yeah. So
I was just saying, Ironcaster, I probably won't be streaming the next 2 weeks because I will be in Philly.
Okay.
So I know a week from today, my classmate that I'm going to be staying with is having a big priest party. And because it's in Eastern time, it's going to be a little bit later than I could probably stream. And then 2 weeks from now, I'll be on a plane heading back here. And just to let you know, Justin, who was with me, is a high school friend. So that's why he kept calling me Chris. Because honestly, I don't blame him. You've known somebody for almost 35 years, and then you have to call them by a title. It's a little awkward.
Yeah, they know you as
I
say
know
to people,
a lot younger, and
I say it to people when I go home. It's like, you've known me my whole life. You do not have to call me father. But now, if you're a parishioner of mine, you decide to call me by my first name. That's a no-no. So
it's when you've got your friends, basically they have known you when you were younger and all the silly things you've done.
Well, the funny thing is, I gotta find it. I remember, and I kept it. I got an ordination card from a parishioner from my home parish, basically saying for somebody that never wanted to be quiet when they were young, and look now, you're a priest. So, that's the thing I tell the people. It's like, your kids are acting up. I don't care. I'm happy that, especially in my small parishes, I'm happy to have crying kids.
I remember when I was going through confirmation, Lutheran church. I don't remember what my paper I had written on that I had to read my little speech for with the church. It might have been one of the commandments. And I remember as I'm kind of reading this off, and the packed church, nerves, not used to talking like that. And I remember, the one thing I remember from it was there was a baby in the crowd that just kept going, moo, moo.
Well, that doesn't affect you.
I can't see anything. I was probably that baby because I've got a picture of me and my sister. My sister was 5 and I wasn't even 1. And that when I was christened. So I was probably the one making all those silly noises.
I got a better one. So I was processing out. We had our Christmas mass in the parish hall because we had to space out, and we didn't have music because we couldn't sing. So as I'm processing it out, I hear a kid ask their parents, "Is it over yet?" I mean, how can you not laugh when you hear that?
Oh, the best one I had was one of my nieces. Basically, we went to her communion, and she's sitting there. She definitely looks as if she was in prayer until somebody tapped her and she put her phone away.
I remember disobeying my parents when I was a kid because Holy Thursday was the only time we got the precious blood. And as Catholics, we believe it's the real body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ, even though it still has the accidental qualities that make it wine. Well, drinking the accidental qualities of wine as a 9-year-old, and then when the incense went by, that was not a good combination. Now, I didn't puke. I didn't feel good, but anyway, that's just something I remember. But, well, we're 15 minutes over.
Yep. It's still,
should be any minute.
Yeah.
Do we just want to start wrapping up so we can watch live?
Yes.
Yeah, might as well.
Okay.
I've not seen Odin in the chat of it yet.
Otherwise, I'm going to wind up looking on eBay longer here and wind up buying more comics.
So, well, I thank everybody for joining us. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll do this